All right, let's talk about a piece of technology that is, no joke, quietly powering the entire AI revolution. It's called a vector database, and it's the real reason AI is starting to feel less like a clunky machine and more, well, more like something that actually gets what we're trying to say.
I mean, you've definitely been there, right? You type something into a search bar, and the results you get back are technically correct based on the words you used, but they just completely miss the point. It's a super common frustration, and it really shows the limits of older tech.
And this, right here, is where you see the huge difference. A classic keyword search sees the word rock and just throws everything at you. Music, stones, you name it. But a search that's based on meaning, well, that's different. It can use context. It knows you were just looking for concert tickets, so we can guess, hey, they probably mean rock music. It's a total game changer.
So how in the world does this magic actually work? Well, the first thing we got to wrap our heads around is this concept I like to call a map of meaning. Seriously, for a second, just forget about words and letters. Instead, think of ideas as locations on a gigantic map.
This is the absolute core idea. In this world, everything, a single word, a whole sentence, even an image, gets turned into a set of coordinates, a specific point on this huge map. And that location, that set of coordinates, that's what we call a vector. It's not the word itself. It's a number that represents its meaning.
And the way this map is laid out is just brilliant. Things with similar meanings, concepts like king and queen, they get placed right next to each other. They're basically neighbors in the city of royalty. But a word like banana, oh, that's thousands of miles away, on a totally different continent of meaning. The distance between any 2 points tells you exactly how related they are.
Okay, so to really get why this map is so powerful, let's use another analogy. Picture a massive old library. This library has a big problem, what we'll call the old library problem, because it can only understand exact keywords.
So you walk up to the librarian with a really specific request. You're not just looking for any book with the word climate in it, right? You're looking for a very specific concept that connects a couple of different ideas. And you can probably guess what happens next. This is where it all goes wrong. The keyword-based librarian hears climate and just starts pulling any book with that word on the cover. It has zero understanding of context, so you end up with books about art and history, totally irrelevant to what you actually wanted. The system completely failed you.
So this is the big question, isn't it? What if that library wasn't organized by alphabetical titles, but by the actual meaning and the ideas inside the books? What would that even look like? Well, that brings us to our next big idea. You can think of a vector database as a kind of GPS for your ideas. It helps you navigate that massive map of meaning we talked about to find exactly what you're looking for.
So here's how that actually plays out. You search for green energy solutions. First, the system turns your search into a set of GPS coordinates on our map. Then it just looks around that point for other things whose coordinates are really, really close by. And what's nearby? You got it. Concepts like solar panels and wind turbines, even if those exact words weren't in your original search.
And this really gets to the heart of it. There's been a huge shift in the question that's being asked. We're moving away from just simple, fragile word matching to a much more sophisticated, much more human way of thinking. We're measuring the distance between ideas.
Let's make this even more relatable. Think about a real-world social situation, like a party. How do you find people you'll connect with? This brings us to the finding friends in a crowd analogy, and honestly, it's one of my favorites.
This one just makes it click, you know? A keyword search is like shouting a specific name at a huge party. Sure, you might find someone with that name, but you have no clue if you'll have anything in common. But a vector search, that's like describing your interests. You're looking for a conceptual match, not just a literal one.
And that's the real payoff. You're not just finding matches on the surface. You're finding things, or in this case, people, that share the same essential qualities, the same vibe. It's about finding similarity in meaning, not just in spelling.
Okay, so let's bring all these ideas home. We've talked about maps, libraries, GPS, parties. Now let's pull it all together to really define what a vector database is. And what it is your own magical librarian.
So let's recap. Really quick. The vector, that's your position on the map of meaning. The database, that's our new and improved library, the one that organizes everything by what it means. The search is the GPS that helps you navigate it all. And the result? That's like finding friends who actually think like you.
Really, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. A vector database is like a library with a magical librarian who truly understands you. It's not about indexing words anymore, it's about indexing meaning itself. This librarian doesn't care if you use the right keywords, it understands the intent behind your words.
And I just want to leave you with this final thought. The incredible power of this technology is that it lets us build systems that find connections based on the way we actually think. You don't just get close matches in spelling, you get close matches in thought. It's a bridge between human ideas and digital information, and it is changing everything.